Silver Company presents The Silver Theater. Starring Helen Hayes in the I.A.R. Wiley story, Stars in Their Courses. Brought to you in behalf of two of the greatest names in silverware, International Sterling, world-famous solid silver, and 1847 Rogers Brothers, America's finest silver plate. We are happy to present in the place of Conrad Nagel, who, as we told you last week, will be unable to be with us for these New York appearances, that celebrated actor-producer of stage and radio, the man who has won wide acclaim as director and star of the Mercury Theater on the air, Mr. Orson Welles.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad to be on hand for these two New York broadcasts of the Silver Theater. In future weeks, when the show returns to Hollywood, you'll hear such stars as Ginger Rogers, Clark Gable, and Betty Davis in stories by America's foremost authors. Today, your master of ceremonies is lucky enough to introduce one of the truly great actresses of our time, Miss Helen Hayes. Miss Hayes will be supported by Carlton Young and Morgan Farley in Stars in Their Courses, especially adapted for Silver Theater by Charles Tazewell. Now the play is about to begin. Stars in Their Courses, with Helen Hayes as Jill Fenwick. The scene is the Omensville Opera House, where just a few minutes ago, the curtain fell on a rare treat. Romeo and Juliet, performed for one night by a roadshow troupe. Now in the dark and deserted auditorium, Reese Tennant, who played Romeo, calls to the stage doorman.
Say, Uncle Jim, where can I leave a suitcase while I go out and eat? I'll pick it up before train time.
Better not set it there on the stage with the trunk so the expressman will cart it off. Be safer out front in the lobby.
Okay, that's what I'll do. Hey, gee, it's dark in here. Where are the steps?
They lead down into the left aisle.
Oh, yeah, I see. Thanks. Oh, I didn't know there was anyone. I beg your pardon, but is there anything I can do? Are you ill?
Just let me alone, will you?
Oh, but you can't just sit down here like this. You're crying.
Well, what if I am?
Oh, nothing. It's perfectly all right with me. I just happened to notice.
Well, don't notice. You've done enough already.
I've done enough. Well, what have I done?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, but it does. Please tell me.
Oh, no, I didn't mean what you think.
But you said I'd done something. What could I have done?
You played Romeo tonight.
Oh, yes, I played Romeo tonight, but I thought they liked it.
That's just it. They did. They cheered you and shouted your name. You were good.
But why are you crying about that?
Because just as you stood on a stage tonight, I stood on one last night. Me, a beginner, a nobody, playing my first decent part with a third-rate small-town stock company. But I'd studied and worked and waited and prayed for it. For that much, that little much.
And what happened? Tell me.
Well, there weren't any cheers. There wasn't even any attention. They wished they hadn't come.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Don't suppose I know. I just suddenly couldn't handle myself or my voice or even the lines. My hands went cold and my head went hot. And by then I was so frightened I forgot what I was supposed to say. You wouldn't believe anyone could be so awful. And that it could hurt so much.
You think I don't know, but I do. Only it always seems worse to the person on the stage.
Not last night. Don't you suppose even I know when an audience loses interest? Anyway, the manager knew. Someone else played the part tonight.
Oh, what a rotten shame. I'm sorry.
Sorry because I lost the part? I could never have gone through with it again anyway. And now at least I know. Now I know for keeps that I don't belong in the theater. That's why I came home. I live here in Ormansville.
But there's nothing so unique in what happened to you. You mustn't let one experience like that put you off the whole idea of acting.
You can have it. I give it all to you. The smell of backstage, the grease paint, the props, the curtain calls. From now on, I'm going to try to live my life, not pretend it.
Look, why don't we get out of here? I'd like to talk to you about this. Can't we walk somewhere, go somewhere?
No. I have to go home. It's just that I hate having to tell my father and mother what's happened. That's why I came to the play tonight, to put off having to face them.
Then put it off a little longer. Let's talk it over.
But
You're miserable. I'm lonesome. We ought to be good for each other. It's just for a little while.
Well, it's nice of you, and thanks, but
Look, please believe me. I am lonesome. I mean it. I want someone to talk to. And I have an idea of someone to talk to, maybe just what you need, too. So come on, what do you say? Let's see what we can do for each other.
All right. Yes. Let's see. So, Mother and Father sent me down to Stanley Parker's stock company in Louisville. He takes on a certain number of apprentices every year, and I became one of them. I did everything around the theater. One week I'd be the offstage rain effect. The next I'd play one of those crisp parlor maids who never says anything at all.
Oh, well, I know. I specialized in menials during my first 2 years in the theater. Butlers, chauffeurs, waiters, elevator men, any character who wore a uniform and said nothing more than, yes, sir.
Why have you stopped?
Well, I can be wrong, of course, but that sounded almost like a laugh.
I believe it was.
Oh, that's more like it. Yeah, I wish you'd tell me one thing, though. Why are you so afraid to go home? Won't your parents understand?
Well, they'll find it hard to believe that I failed so miserably, I mean. You see, they thought I was doing so well.
That does make it harder.
And then the neighbors. They'll make sure I never forget it.
What will you do?
Oh, I'll take 10 deep breaths and settle back. Return to the fold of the Monday Bridge Club and the Ormansville Literary Guild.
Well, you'll be busy at any rate.
Yes, uninspired, but busy.
Please don't look so sunk again.
How would you feel? It's the end of so much I've hoped for. It wasn't as if I was just stage struck. I honestly thought I could act. That I could play a queen and the audience would never notice that my castle was painted canvas. That I could get the feel of all kinds of characters and make the audience feel them, too. Oh, well.
Do you want to know something? After nearly 7 years in the theater, I played my first lead tonight.
I don't believe it.
It's true. The regular Romeo left suddenly because he and the manager had salary trouble. And even at that, it's just luck they didn't give the part to Paul Summers. You saw him play Friar Lawrence. He used to be on Broadway until he drank himself off it.
He couldn't have played Romeo better than you.
You really mean that?
Yes, of course. I thought it was a fine performance.
Thanks. That's what I needed to hear.
But you must have known.
I never know, and there's never been anyone to tell me.
But you're friends.
In the last few years, I haven't been in one place long enough to make friends.
When do you leave here?
2:40, only a couple of hours away.
Oh.
So that's my story. That's how I got...
Wait.
Huh?
I didn't notice where we were walking. Please, let's not go any further.
Well, what is it? What's the matter?
There. That house on the corner, the white one. It's mine. That's where I live. Well, I can't go in. I can't tell them. Not yet.
Well, don't do it. We'll turn around and go back.
It's what I've been dreading all day and all night. As soon as I walk in that door, as soon as I close it behind me, then I'm back. Back to stay.
Then don't go in. Not yet, anyway. Maybe before train time we can think of something. Come on.
Oh.
Come on. It doesn't seem half as bad now, does it?
Just about half. Now that you've been nice enough to feed me, I think I can manage to behave like a grown-up.
I'm sure you will. Well, we haven't much time left. Where do you think we ought to go now?
Let's just sit somewhere. Right across the street there in the park.
Oh, right you are.
Funny.
What is?
Oh, the way things happen. This morning you didn't know about me. I didn't know about you.
Funny.
What?
I was just thinking that.
Wait a minute. Oh, do you see what I see? Look what we practically walked into.
Yes, how could anyone miss it? So help me, it's a fire engine.
Now, don't tell me someone just left it here and forgot all about it.
It's brand new, don't you think? I've never seen a redder, shinier, more businesslike looking one.
Here's a tag on the front. Light a match.
You're right. There you are. What does it say?
Almondsville Volunteer Fire Department.
What's it doing here in the park, do you
Oh,
suppose?
a new fire engine in Almondsville always calls for a big celebration. They're probably going to dedicate it tomorrow. You know something? I've always wanted to sit in the driver's seat of a red fire engine.
All right, young lady, you asked for it. Up you go. There.
Why, it's a whole new world up here. Why didn't you see the gadgets?
Just think, if I weren't an actor, I might even be able to explain them to you.
Well, explain them anyway. It isn't as if I'd know the difference.
By golly, I would if I had time.
Oh, of course, the time.
Hey, look at that swell moon. Is he an old settler of Almondsville?
Been here ever since I can remember.
He's lucky.
Why?
He'll be here tomorrow night. I won't. Will you miss me at all? Is it possible that you might?
Yes, quite possible.
I know I'll miss you. Desperately. It doesn't make sense, of course, but can you understand it?
I can feel it.
I'm glad.
I suppose we'll get over it. After all...
I won't. And you know why?
I can guess.
I'm in love with you. It happened right there in the theater tonight after the show. 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 It's a wonder you didn't hear them. It's a wonder you didn't hear them. It's a wonder you...
Perhaps I did.
Know my name. Or I yours.
Is that important? I'm Jill. I'm Jill. I'm Jill Fenwick.
I'm Reese. Reese Tennant. And I love you, Jill. What can we do about it? What can we do about it? What can we...
Do you know, it's about time.
Good Lord!
Reese!
You had your foot on that button.
Do you think anybody heard it?
Heard it. I'll bet all the volunteers in town are pulling on their boots already.
They won't blame us.
One are pulling on their boots already.
They won't blame us.
One are pulling on their boots already.
They won't blame us.
Yeah. Come on. Now, here's where we start running. Come on. Jill, what a finale for a love scene.
I always do that when I'm kissed.
Why does everything have to happen to me?
I'm running out of breath.
Yeah.
Here, we can hide behind this tree.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Phew.
Oh. Look, Jill. I haven't any right to ask you. It's unfair, it's unkind, and for your own good, you must say no, but I've got to say it anyway. Jill. Jill, will you marry me?
It's crazy. It's mad. It's no way to do things, but yes.
No, you mustn't say that.
But I want to.
You're throwing yourself away.
I don't think so.
Oh, Jill, I'll be so good to you.
I know that.
I'll have to be because you'll have no one else. Do you realize your family will probably disown you?
Not when they know you.
I hope you're right. I hope you'll be proud of me.
Of course I will.
The first few years won't be pleasant.
We'll make them pleasant.
Bad trains, bad food, bad hotels.
We'll laugh at them when we look back.
Hey, did you hear? It's almost train time. This is your last chance to back out.
Oh, dear.
You mean you've changed your mind?
Certainly not. But I did so want to ring that fire siren again.
Small bag is ready at 6. $3 a day, American plan.
Reese, we forgot the electric iron.
Overture places, first act curtain.
Guess forbidden to cook in their rooms.
4 hour wait at C&O Junction.
Gosh, what a dump. I'm so sorry, darling.
Sunday layover, Atchison City. Christmas in Meadville, then swing through the South. Look on the call board for furnished rooms.
No, Reese, of course I'm not tired.
Rehearsal call at 10 in the morning. 6 o'clock train to Henderson.
The house is sold out, Jill.
Grease paint. Laundry. Matinee. Trunks. Lights. One night stand. The theater.
And now, back to Orson Welles.
Curtain is about to rise on the second act of Stars in Their Courses, starring Helen Hayes. Several months have passed since the marriage of Jill and Reese Tennant. Months of tireless trooping with Jill on the sidelines, watching Reese play Romeo. Now a performance is going on, and Paul Summers seeks out Jill in Reese's dressing room.
Mrs. Reese Tennant, I believe.
Paul,
Wife of the great Romeo.
they'll hear you out on the stage. Keep quiet or close the door.
I'll close it.
Paul, you've been drinking again.
Well, why not? They expect it of me. Ask anybody in show business, and they'll say, Paul Summers is just a souse.
And I suppose you're proud when they say it.
Sure, what difference does it make?
A lot of difference. You're a good actor.
I was almost a great one. At least the New York critics thought so. Remind me to show you my notices the next time I go to the bottom of my trunk.
But no one will trust you. You're not dependable.
I could stop drinking like that if I wanted to.
Well, why don't you? Then you'd be playing real parts instead of bits.
Say, Jill, do you think Bergson would let me do Romeo?
Well, I don't know, Paul.
You don't believe I could play it as well as Reese? Very well, then. Guess I'll have to show you. Now, you and I are going to do a scene.
Oh, Paul, really?
This chair's the balcony. That electric light globe's the moon. Come on. Get up in the chair.
Paul, for heaven's sake, won't you please?
Come on, Jill. Come on.
Well, all right.
That's swell. Now, here we go. She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious as this night, being o'er my head. Well, go on, Jill. That's your cue.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
No, really read it. Don't just say...
All right. Oh, Romeo, Romeo.
That's it.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo
Call
called?
me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man are you, that thus bescreamed by night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague? What are you laughing at?
Oh, I knew it. You're really an actress.
Don't be ridiculous, Paul.
Reese was nothing till you came along. He's still not much. But you've made him into the semblance of an actor.
That's not true. Reese is...
I know the hours and the days and the weeks you've worked with him. How you've gone over every line, every word, every phrase. Reese is getting the applause for your performance.
I've helped him, yes. But as an actor, Reese can stand on his own feet.
Can he? Did he ever carry you along as I did just now?
Yes.
I know he didn't, and you know it, too. It's in your eyes and in your voice. For the first time you doubt him. For the first time you see him for what he is. A very bad actor. Someone had to prove it to you.
What right have you to prove anything? Yes, you had the advantage of years and experience, but Reese is young, and he has to play opposite Lucille Leslie. What kind of support is that? You know Lucille's too old for Juliet. She could be his mother.
Why,
Oh, I shouldn't say things like that. Lucille's my friend and a grand trooper, but...
Oh, it's all wrong, I grant you that, but even so, I still
Do
say...
you think I'm so in love with Reese? I can't see he isn't perfect. That's why I've worked with him. His career is my job. His success is the most important thing in my life.
And you're wasting your life, Jill. He hasn't got it in him. I'm sure of it.
And I'm just as sure he has. Now, will you please get out?
Jill, do you hear that? They sat there like sticks all through the show, but I finally got them, didn't I?
Yes. Yes, you did, Reese.
You think this bunch is tough? Just wait till you hit the one after Easter week.
What do you mean?
Hasn't Bergson told you the news? He's going to try the big time.
Really?
Where, Paul?
He's almost set on Boston.
Boston?
Say, that's great.
Oh, no, he can't. Not yet, I mean.
What's the matter, Jill? Afraid we aren't good enough?
No.
Well, it'll be Reese's big chance to show what he can really do, won't it?
Well, sure it will. That's what we've been waiting for, Jill. They'll have real critics out front. Why, Lord only knows what may come of it.
Yes, that's right, Reese. Well, I guess I better be making my change. Best of luck, Reese.
Thanks.
I think you'll need it.
What do you suppose he meant by that, Jill?
Nothing. Nothing at all, darling. He's been drinking.
Jill, they really turned out for us in Boston. Bergson says the house is nearly sold out.
Turn around. Let's see how the new cat fits.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Perfect.
Oh, that's something. I'm
You mustn't be nervous, darling.
Oh, you're a fine one to talk. You're worse than I am.
Well, hold still till I brush your jacket.
Yeah, all right. Oh, gosh, I hope they like it.
Boston's no different than any other town.
But it means so much to us, Jill. I keep wondering what the critics will say.
Why, they'll say, Reese Tennant didn't play Romeo. Reese Tennant was Romeo.
Oh, silly. Well, the reviews better be good. If they aren't, we'll have to go back to the sticks.
Suppose we do. We'll get along. And the next time we come to Boston...
There won't be a next time, Jill. If I don't get over now, I'm finished.
15 minutes. 15
There's the quarter-hour
Well,
call.
won't be long now.
Want me to cue you again?
Oh, good Lord, what's that?
Now that everybody in the company's here, I'll give it to you straight. This looks like the finish. Lucky Bergson, that's me. Sure, for 20 years I worked to get a stake to put on a real show. The time comes, and what happens? Lucille Leslie, after trooping all over the country, comes to Boston and has a heart attack 10 minutes before curtain time. So Juliet goes to the hospital, Bergson goes broke, and the rest of the company goes on relief, maybe. Well, I'm sorry, boys and girls. Somebody go out and tell the audience there ain't going to be a show and get their money back at the box office.
Jill, you could do it.
Do what, Reese?
If you wanted to, you could play Juliet.
Oh, no, I couldn't, Reese. You remember what happened. Oh, I couldn't get away with it.
Bergson.
Yeah?
Jill can play Juliet. She knows every line. Night after night, she stands in the wings. She knows all the business.
Say, maybe you're right.
No, don't listen to him, Mr. Bergson. I wouldn't be good, I tell you.
But, Jill, it's entirely different this time. You know the play so well, and you'll be on the stage with me. I can carry it. I've been doing it for months.
Sure, that's right, Jill, and Lucille's costumes will fit fine.
But I don't want to act. No, I won't do it.
Don't you want to give Reese his chance and keep the company together?
Of course, Paul, only
You
you
must do it. If you don't, it's curtains in. Look, Jill, Abel Green from Variety came up here just to catch Reese.
Oh, well...
Get Lucille's makeup.
You don't need a wig, Jill.
And don't use too much rouge, darling.
Yeah, there's a lot of amber in the foots.
But the audience... Suppose they don't believe I'm Juliet.
Don't worry about a thing, darling. I won't have you hurt. I love you too much.
And I won't be hurt, Reese. You know something? I'm not really frightened. I would be if it was for myself, but it isn't. It's for you. And I can do anything for you.
Jill, you're the grandest...
And you mustn't be afraid for me, Reese. Just imagine I'm really Juliet, in love with you. That won't be difficult, because I am, you know.
You two, going on like that at a time like this. George.
Yeah?
Get out there in front of the curtain and give him a talk. Tell him Lucille has been taken ill and Reese Tennant's wife is stepping into the part of the last moment without a rehearsal. Play that up big. Even those stuffed shirts must have a heart.
Yes, sir.
And, everybody clear out now. You too, Reese. Get a girl a chance to get ready. Come on. Get out of the doorway. God bless you, Jill. Just take it easy, and I'll be praying for you.
All right, Mr. Bergson.
Good luck, Jill.
Thanks, darling.
And don't worry, we'll knock 'em dead.
Come on, get this hall cleared. First act people out on stage. Reese, you and Paul run over that business in the last scene.
All right, Bergson.
Hey, Paul.
Right with you, Reese. Well, Jill, so fate has made you a Juliet at last.
Not fate. You and Reese and Bergson, and even somebody named Green on Variety. I had to get dressed, Paul. Can't you wait till
You're foolish to let yourself into this, Jill.
Why do you say that? You're one of the ones who kept on at me until...
Listen to me, Jill. When the last curtain falls, one of two things will have happened. If you've played the part badly, haven't given Reese the proper support, he'll have lost his opportunity. He'll have to go back to one-night stands. He'll grow to hate you for that, Jill.
Oh, no, he won't. I'll have done my best. He'll know that.
Or if you play it as well as I believe you can, the audience will never know Reese was on the stage. You'll go on from tonight, Jill. He'll slip back or stand still. He'll hate you for that, too.
Haven't you done enough already? For weeks you've been tormenting me, trying to discourage Reese, telling us Boston was bound to be a grand and glorious flop. Well, you've been wasting your time, and right now you're wasting mine. I've heard all I want to out of you. Now, won't you please get out?
All right. Have it your way.
No. No. Dear God, don't let Paul be right. This is Reese's night. Help him. Make him great. And please, please help me, too. Make me a Juliet he'll keep on loving.
And now Orson Welles has a word for you.
Next week at this same time, Helen Hayes as Jill Tennant, Carlton Young as Reese, and Morgan Farley as Paul Summers in the exciting finale of Stars in Their Courses. There'll be music by Mark Warno and his orchestra, of course, and I'll be here to welcome you.
Meanwhile, if you want solid silver, you want international sterling. If you want silver plate, you want 1847 Rogers Brothers, both proudly created by International Silver Company. Helen Hayes is currently playing a return engagement of Victoria Regina in New York. Orson Welles is heard later this evening over this same network in his weekly broadcast of the Mercury Theater on the Air. Ralph Edwards speaking. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. International Silver Company presents the Silver Theater, starring Miss Helen Hayes in Stars in Their Courses. Brought to you in behalf of two of the greatest names in silverware, International Sterling, world-famous solid silver, and 1847 Rogers Brothers, America's finest silver plate. We're proud tonight to welcome back to Silver Theater that brilliant young actor of stage and radio, the director and star of the Mercury Theater of the Air, Mr. Orson Welles.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad to be on hand for another Silver Theater broadcast. In future weeks, when the show returns to Hollywood, you will hear such stars as Ginger Rogers, Clark Gable, and Betty Davis in stories by America's foremost authors. Tonight we present the second and concluding episode of the Cosmopolitan magazine story, Stars in Their Courses, by I.A.R. Wiley, which has been especially adapted for Silver Theater by Charles Tazewell. I feel sure that those who did not hear the first episode will be able to follow without any difficulty. And now our play is about to begin. The lights are being dimmed, and the silver curtain is rising on the concluding episode of Stars in Their Courses, with Helen Hayes as Jill Tennant, Carlton Young as Reese Tennant, and Morgan Farley as Paul Summers.
Hello, Winchell. This is Danny Myers up in Boston. Look, I got an exclusive for tomorrow's column. Lucille Leslie, playing Juliet with Oscar Bergson Shakespearean Company at the Boston Opera House, has a heart attack 10 minutes before curtain time. And who do you think steps in? Jill Tennant, the wife of Reese Tennant, who plays Romeo. Yeah, well, Bergson says the only acting she's ever done was with some third-rate stock company. What, Walter? Oh, just a small-town girl who met Tennant in the sticks and married him quick and then traveled along as excess baggage. No, Walter, she ain't an actress, but, well, look, Bergson's got to have a Juliet. And listen, here's a wow. This dame don't want to act. She's only playing Juliet so as her husband will get a break. Yeah. If he goes over tonight, Bergson takes him and the show into New York. You got it, Walter? Ain't that a honey of an angle? Hey, listen, the show's almost over, and I'll call you back just as soon as I can. Walter, here's the payoff on that story from Boston. Jill Tennant stole the show. The audience is standing in the aisles yelling bravo and speech and Juliet. 16 curtain calls already, Walter. 16 What? Romeo? Just the stooge, Walter. Just the stooge.
Reese?
Yes, darling. Good morning.
Where are you?
Over here by the window.
Oh, why, you're dressed.
Yes. Yes, I woke up early. No use lying in bed. I went out for the morning papers.
I didn't sleep much either. Have you read the reviews?
Yes, I've read them. They liked you, all of them. But they didn't care much for me.
Oh.
Well, what's the matter, darling? An actress shouldn't look so miserable just because she gets good notices.
Oh, Reese. Ever since last night, I've felt as if I'd cheated you. Done something disloyal, underhanded.
No reason in the world to feel that way, Jill.
Well, I do. I can't help it. You've waited so long and worked so hard for this chance, and now I've spoiled everything for you. But I didn't mean to, Reese. You believe that, don't you? You don't think...
Of course, darling. It was just one of those things.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't be so cheerful about it. Why don't you make a scene? Get mad. Mad enough to break something. I'd feel better if you did.
It's all right, Jill. I'm proud of you.
Oh, I'm not. I hate myself.
Then you're hating a very famous person. Come on, get up and read your notices.
I don't want to read them.
Then I'll read them for you.
Oh.
They're educational. Did you know you were triplets? Well, you are. Giuseppe, Bernhardt, and Terry all rolled into one.
Oh, how can they say such
Oh,
things?
it's downright slander, of course. I can prove you're lovelier than any one of them. Now, let me see.
Reese, please don't.
Here. Dayton Burns says, new and talented star Jill Tennant rose to shine gloriously at the Boston Opera House last night. Her unstudied simplicity, her authentic genius, her fragile beauty, well, it goes on from there and piles it on even thicker.
Oh, Reese, I don't want to hear them.
And this is what he thought about me. Perhaps it would be a kindness to tell Mr. Tennant that a capacity to look like Romeo is not enough. Romeo
Stop, Reese. It's not true, any of it. I'm not an actress. I'm a stunt, a novelty, something they can make a story out of.
Now, here's what Peter Grimes of the Chronicle says.
Please don't read any more notices, Reese. What's the good? They're only hurting both of us.
Why should they hurt me?
Well, they do. I know they do. You can't pretend with me, Reese. You're being very brave. But after all the things we've planned, New York and all that, it's almost like reading your own obituary.
Oh, Jill, I...
Come here, darling.
Oh, I've let you down so horribly.
Oh, no, Reese. It was I let you down. It was all my fault. You were used to Lucille. You didn't know what I might do next.
I tried so hard, Jill.
Oh, don't I know that, darling? And you gave a beautiful performance. You did, really. You'll get back in your stride when you have Lucille in the part again. Oh.
Yes? Yes, who is it?
Bergson.
Oh, hand me that dressing gown, darling.
Here you are. Just a second.
All right. He can come in now.
Okay, Bergson.
Hello, Reese.
Hello.
Morning, Jill. Excuse me. I hope I'm not interrupting.
Oh, that's all right. Sit down.
Thanks.
Mr. Bergson, isn't there any chance of Lucille going back in the show tonight?
Not a chance in the world, Jill.
Then we lay off?
No, I can't afford to lay off.
But, Mr. Bergson, Reese can't go on again tonight like he did last night. It isn't fair to him. You can't expect him to work with just anybody. He's willing and obliging, but...
Well, now look, children. This ain't easy for me to say, but this thing we run into last night...
You don't need to stall, Bergson. Why don't you just say you've read the notices and that I'm fired?
Now, wait a minute, Reese.
Didn't you come to tell me that you don't want me to play the part tonight?
Well, yes, but you see...
Why don't you want Reese to play it, Mr. Bergson?
Now, look, Jill, I want to take the show into New York.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, the news will go on ahead to Broad whether they didn't like Reese in Boston.
But...
Bergson's right, Joe. The New York critics would be laying for us. We wouldn't have a chance.
All right. You don't want Reese. Who'll take his place?
Paul Summers.
Paul Summers?
Sure, he's played in New York before. The critics know him.
I see. Well, Paul does Romeo. Lucille's in the hospital. Who plays Juliet?
Why, you do, Jill.
I?
Yeah, don't you see it? It's a natural. Paul Summers would come back and Jill Tennant to discover.
Oh, no, Mr. Bergson. You just count me out. You'll have to discover someone else. Last night was my first and last performance.
Oh, now, Jill, you can't do that. You've got to help us.
There's no got to about it. You haven't a contract with me. I'm not a member of your company. I'm simply Reese Tennant's wife. I don't want to be an actress. I don't want to play the part.
Yeah. Now I got a headache like never before. You know what this means? The show closes tonight, and the whole company is stranded in Boston.
Close for good?
What else can I do? And just because Jill don't want to act.
Oh, don't put it all on me. Before last night, you never even thought of me in the part. If we hadn't come to Boston, if Lucille hadn't got
Say, what about Lucille?
Well, I guess she'll just be in hock at the hospital.
Oh.
If the show was going on, I could do something for her, but the show's closing.
Jill, we can't leave Lucille in a spot like this. I know you don't want to play the part, and I know why. It's because of me.
Oh, no, it isn't, Reese.
I know it is. So, look, forget all about me.
I know, Reese. Only... Oh, don't you see?
It's the show that matters, darling. The show and all the people in it. We haven't the right to upset their lives.
No, of course we haven't, Reese. Only... There must be some other way.
I'm afraid not, Jill.
Look, if the show closes, it'll be terrible for them. I know that. But don't you understand, Reese? If it goes on, it's going to be just as bad. Perhaps worse for us.
Maybe you're making it more serious than it is, Jill.
But, Reese, what about you?
Oh, I'll look out for Reese, Jill. He can understudy maybe and help the rest.
Sure. You see, darling, he's got me all set.
Yes. He seems to have us both all set.
Well, how about it, Jill?
I guess there's nothing else to do.
You'll play the part you'll open in New York?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Bergson. I'll open in New York.
Oh, no, not still wine. Waiter, I ordered champagne. Think of it, Paul. 26 curtain calls from a New York audience. And 2 critics congratulated me on their way out. We're set for a run.
Bergson, here comes your guest of honor.
Where? Oh, Jill. Jill, over here we are. Say, ain't she a picture? Ain't she lovely?
Mr. Bergson. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Am I late?
Yeah, just 20 years too late, Jill. If I'd had you for a star when I went in show business, I'd be living now on Park Avenue and giving away polo ponies for Christmas cards. Sit down, everybody. Here, Jill, you at the head of the table. Paul,
right.
you next.
Thanks, Bergson. Where's Reese tonight, Jill?
Oh, he'll be along shortly. He told me before the show not to wait for him.
How's he taking it? You know, it's pretty tough to sit on the wrong side of the footlights, watching someone else get the applause.
Reese isn't like that. Did you see him in the right-hand box during the show?
No, I didn't notice.
Oh, even if I hadn't seen him, I'd have felt him there, helping me, encouraging me. And then when it was over, he stood up and applauded so loudly that everybody was looking at him.
Still, he's bound to feel some jealousy, Jill.
You're wrong, Paul.
You don't know show business.
You don't know Reese. Reese is big. Ask Bergson, who's really responsible for the show coming into New York at all. Now, come on, let's try and enjoy the party.
All right. Attention, everybody, please.
Jill,
What? Oh, yes, George?
Reese asked me to give you this note.
Oh. Why, thanks, George.
I offer a toast to the newest and greatest Juliet of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Oscar Bergson's own discovery and Broadway's newest star, Jill Tennant.
George is gone. Oh, what's the matter, Jill? Bad news?
Nothing. Nothing, Paul.
Now let's hear from Jill Tennant herself. Come on, Jill.
Jill.
Yes. Yes, Paul.
They want you to say something.
No, there's nothing to say.
Jill, you've got to get hold of yourself. Put on a front. Give them a performance. You must do it.
Yes. Yes, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say except this is the happiest night of my life.
Dearest Jill.
The happiest night of my life.
Dearest Jill, I want to preface this note by saying I love you.
What more could I ask than the applause of a great audience?
I'm going out of your life, Jill. You don't need me now.
What more could I want than to feel I haven't let down my friends?
I waited to be sure you and the show were a success.
What more could I wish than praise from the critics? My name in lights on Broadway.
You're wonderful, Jill. I'm so proud of you.
You people sitting at this table, you're the ones who are responsible for tonight. I have you to thank.
You'll do so much better alone, darling.
You can see I'm crying. Oh, that's because I can't express my gratitude to you in words.
I'd just be a drag, Jill, holding you back.
But I do thank you. Thank you all. Mr. Bergson and Paul Summers and the rest of the company.
So I'm stepping out of the picture.
And the musicians and the stage hands. They must be thanked.
Goodbye, darling.
And all of you. All of you who've done so much for me. The theater's done so much for me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. So very happy.
You've just heard the first act of the concluding episode of Stars in Their Courses, starring Helen Hayes. The lights are being dimmed again, and the silver curtain is rising on the final act of Stars in Their Courses, starring Helen Hayes as Jill Tennant. Reese has vanished, and Jill presents a brave front to the world while trying to hide the emptiness of her life without him. But the memory of his voice saying, "I love you, Jill," is still more real to her than the shrill chorus of autograph hunters, celebrity worshippers, and all those satellites who inevitably surround Stars in Their Courses.
Wonderful performance.
Marvelous notices.
Perfect poise.
Sensational ability.
Will you head our star list for the benefit, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
Will you speak at our convention, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
This gown, may we name it for you, Miss
Yes.
Tennant?
Will you read my new play, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
Your endorsement, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
May we quote you, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
Your picture, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
Your autograph, Miss Tennant?
Yes.
Hello, Jill.
Oh, Mr. Bergson, come in.
Thanks.
You look worried.
Well, I am, maybe.
What about?
You.
Why me?
You're losing something, Jill.
You don't have to tell me that.
You're not the actress I brought into New York a season ago. This new show won't run a month. From out front, it looks like you're walking in your sleep, maybe. What's the matter?
It might be that I just don't care.
But you got to care.
Why should I?
That's no answer, Jill.
It's the best one I can think of.
Look, you got what every young actress in the country would give her eye teeth for.
My name in lights? Can you take those lights home with you when the curtain's gone down and the show's over? The written compliments of critics? They're fine to start a blaze in the fireplace, but there's not much warmth in them. Not half as much as someone you care about saying, "Good night, darling," or "Good morning," or "I love you."
But, Jill, if you keep on like this, you'll throw away your whole career.
My career. I won't miss that. All I miss all I'll ever miss is Reese.
What the devil's the matter with you, Jill? This makes 2 failures in a row.
I'm sorry, Paul. Maybe next time.
Now, Miss Tennant, have you and Bergson called it quits?
Oh, just for the time being. You see, I didn't think the part in his new play suited me.
Hello, Jill. Remember me?
Of course, Lucille Leslie.
It's been a long time since we trooped together. How's Reese?
I don't know, Lucille. He went away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You haven't seen him or heard anyone speak of him?
No, I haven't, Jill, but I'll ask around.
Will you, Lucille? Thanks a lot.
Yes, Miss Tennant?
I heard you were casting for a new show and...
Sorry, the cast is all filled.
Oh, I see. Well, thanks just the same.
Now, look, Jill, we're both running pretty short. Why can't we share a room to save rent?
It'll have to be a cheap room, Lucille.
That's the only kind I'm used to. By the way, Bergson's doing a new play. Why don't you stop in?
If Bergson wanted me, he'd send for me. But I'll go to see him anyway.
Hello, honey. You're late. Where have you been?
Down at Bergson's office. He was busy. I had to wait.
Did you have any lunch?
No, I forgot about it.
Oh, I'll bet you're tired to death.
Oh, it wasn't so bad. His secretary let me read the new play. It'll be a hit, all right.
Anything in it for you?
There's one part I know I could do, but I won't be doing it.
Well, why not? Did you ask Bergson for it?
Yes.
And he turned you down? That's gratitude for you.
It isn't Bergson, Lucille. It's Paul Summers.
What's he got to do with it?
He's playing the lead. And he says he won't risk working with me again. I've had too many failures.
Oh, he does he? Wait till I see Mr. Summers.
Oh, I guess Paul's right, Lucille. I am a bad risk. I'm at the bottom of the hill. I'll never climb back up again.
Oh, now, Jill.
It's true. Funny, isn't it? When I honestly didn't want to be an actress, Bergson, all the rest of them insisted that I had to act. And now when I'd be glad of anything, even a walk-on job, they don't think I'm good enough.
Well, why don't you go out to your folks, Jill, for a rest?
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. It's too far away. Suppose Reese came looking for me. Oh, no, I've got to stay in New York. Keep myself going.
All right. Only look now, before we both bust out crying, what about dinner?
That's fine. What are we going to use for money?
You're broke, so that's why you forgot lunch. Well, I have a quarter.
That won't go far.
No, but we eat just the same. Ever hear of the Actors' Dinner Club?
Yes, it's a sort of decent charity, isn't it?
Sure. Those who can pay $1 for a 50-cent meal, and the broke ones get the other 50 cents worth. No one knows who pays and who doesn't. Put on your best clothes and a swagger, and they'll think
I don't care what anybody thinks, Lucille. I'm past that. And I haven't any swagger left. Come on. We'll eat at the Actors' Dinner Club and be glad there is such a place.
It's kind of crowded. Oh, here's 2 seats. Let's sit here.
All right.
Oh, there's Mabel Downing. I haven't seen her in months. Wait a minute. I'll be right back, Jill. Hold my chair.
Hello, Jill.
Reese,
I saw you come in. May I sit down here?
it's Lucille's chair.
Yes, Lucille saw me. She knew I'd want to... Oh, Jill, it's so good to see you again. How are things?
Oh, just fine, Reese.
Working?
No, I'm rehearsing.
Something good, I hope.
Oh, yes, I'm sure it'll run for years.
Oh, that's great. Nice part?
Oh, a marvelous part. Right in my line.
I'm so glad, Jill.
Yes, it's exactly my type. I play a destitute actress, grateful for a free meal at the Actors' Dinner Club, and pretending to a former husband I'm a huge success. It's perfect casting, don't you think?
Jill, that isn't funny.
No, it's deadly serious. Well, I've forgotten what a rehearsal looks like, or how a backstage smells. I'm down and out, Reese. down at the heel.
Jill, I didn't know.
Well, everyone else does. Where have you been not to know?
Out west. I tried to keep track of you. The last I heard, you were on Broadway.
One-night stands came after that.
Bad luck.
Bad acting.
I don't believe it.
It's true just the same. I didn't mean to tell you all this, but it sort of squares things, doesn't it? You see, now I know how you felt in Boston. I know what I did to you.
You didn't do a thing, Jill. I was a rotten actor. I realized how bad I was the night I watched you and Summers on that opening in New York.
I saw you standing in the back of the box applauding. You started the cheering, too.
I was so proud of you. I told you that in my note.
Then why did you go away, Reese?
I went haywire, I guess. You'd already found out I was a second-rate actor. I was afraid if I stuck around, you'd begin to think I was a second-rate husband.
When you left, the curtain went down, and the play was over. I tried to raise the curtain again, but it wouldn't go up without you. And I couldn't act because I didn't care anymore.
Jill, you're going to care again. You're going to act again.
No, Reese.
Listen, Jill, I've found out that I do have a place in the theater. I can't act, but I can write plays. Bergson's taken one of them, although he doesn't know I wrote it, and it goes into rehearsal next week.
The play Bergson's doing is your play?
You've read it?
I cried over it.
That's our story, Jill. And the part's yours. I wrote it for you.
Paul Summers said he wouldn't work with me.
Paul's right about that, because I won't let him. This is one character he'd never understand.
But Broadway, the critics, the audiences, they've forgotten all about me, Reese. You must have a great star to play the girl.
I want you, Jill. For the play and for myself. We both need you. If you'll stick with us, and please, Jill, say you will, we'll show Broadway the greatest play and the two happiest people of the season, or any season.
Oh, Reese, don't make me cry. Everybody's looking. They'll think you're abusing me.
Then they must be blind. If they were really looking, they'd see I'm just a man in love.
Darling.
What would happen if I leaned over and kissed you?
I don't know. Probably all the waiters would drop their dishes.
Would they? Let's find out.
Yes, darling.
Mr. Orson Welles has something to say to you.
Well, I just want to have your star, Miss Helen Hayes, take a much-deserved curtain call. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the theater's most brilliant dramatic star, the one and only Miss Helen Hayes in person.
Thank you, everyone. I hardly know what to say, except that, well, what I said earlier in the play is really true now. This is one of the happiest nights of my life.
Dearest Helen, I want to preface this note by saying I loved your performance.
What more could I ask, after all, than the applause of a great audience?
Perhaps a vacation from Victoria Regina?
You people listening at the radios, you're the ones who are responsible.
Why, I stood in the back of the store and watched you pick out that sterling silver yourself.
It's you I have to thank. And I do thank you. Thank you all. And especially you, Mr. Carlton Young and Mr. Morgan Farley, because you were both grand, really grand.
You'll do better without me, you see. I'm just a drag on you, holding you back, talking to you about sterling silver when...
Well, Orson Welles, it's silver worth talking about. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give international sterling for Christmas. It's the most acceptable gift I can think of.
And now, I'm stepping out of your life.
And I'm stepping away from the microphone. Good night, everybody, and thank you, all of you.
Next week at the same time, Silver Theater returns to Hollywood to bring you Ginger Rogers in a thrilling tale of ships and intrigue. The Captain Had a Daughter. Conrad Nagel returns as director, and Felix Mills will again conduct the orchestra. Helen Hayes is currently playing a return engagement of Victoria Regina in New York. Orson Welles is heard later this evening in the weekly broadcast of the Mercury Theater of the Air. Original music on tonight's broadcast was scored and conducted by Mark Warno. Ralph Edwards speaking. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.